Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday morning. Thank you for joining me this morning. And I do apologize if you were looking for me at 7 a.m. I am going to push my start time back to 7:30 for my Monday market updates with Real Estate Professor Andrea, which is me. I like to work out in the morning, and so it was pushing it just a little bit. So I want to make sure that I can comfortably make it on here on time. So I am pushing back the start time to 7:30. So again, thank you for joining me. Monday mornings at this time, I like to jump on here and give you your weekly real estate market update, let you know what's going on, give you some tips, and this is how you start out your week. Oftentimes we're listening to the weather and other news on Monday mornings or early in the morning. So I want to give you your real estate information. So first, I want to start off and talk about what's going on in the housing market as it relates to financing or your mortgages. So many of you may know or may not know that with interest rates being really, really low, it has prompted many homeowners to also do a refinance on their home. So part of what is going on in the housing market, we're dealing with a shortage of inventory, which has created a seller's market. So many sellers are able or have been able to sell their home well above the asking price of the home. I was just talking to a title rep the other day, going leading into the weekend, and she said for her mother, they have been looking for a home and they have put in an offer for $25,000 over the asking price, and they still did not even win the property. Someone else outbid them. So this is going on across the country is what we're seeing. And so part of the reason why we're dealing with a lack of inventory is that some owners are starting to realize, maybe I won't move into another home. Maybe we'll just refinance on our home, do some home improvements, and then stay in our home. And so what's causing the problem is those people that would naturally progress and move into another home are deciding to stay in their home much longer, because when you think about it, everyone is kind of moving forward. When you buy your first home, it might be a little bit smaller, then you move up and it leaves room for that next new buyer that comes into play. Well, what we've seen over the last few weeks, or the last week anyway, interest rates have started to increase a little bit. So we have seen that the refinances have started to slow down over this last week because of this. So starting September, there is supposed to be an increase in fees on the government-backed loans that may also deter people from refinancing and trigger them into becoming a seller or actually sell their property. So as a real estate agent, I hope that this is the case, just because we do need to make room, or we need new inventory for all of these buyers that are coming into the marketplace. One interesting thing, though, that is being reported on a national level is that more millennials are looking to now purchase homes. Initially, people were saying, well, millennials, they are leaning towards renting more so buying. What we're seeing is they're starting to make better decisions. They are really not wanting to overextend themselves. Many of them have started to realize that they can work from home, want to now purchase at a lower purchase price, and they're starting to want to buy like cheap old houses. When you think about the cheap old houses, when you think about those like in your community, what do those homes look like? Usually, a lot of times, those are those large homes that over time just have been neglected, oftentimes foreclosed on, or because of tax liens on the property, the family may have lost those properties. So we're seeing an enjoyment from the millennials who want to now purchase those homes and be a little bit more financially responsible, understanding that they like to work from home. And so they're working from home, they're buying the cheap old house, and then they're making a commitment to repairing that older home just over time. So you make it move-in ready to a certain point, and then you build on that. I think that this is a brilliant idea. And if you have any children that are young and wanting to get into the real estate market and buy a home, I definitely encourage this strategy because we've oftentimes all are often taught to buy at your max, purchase a home at your max, and then what happens is it curves your lifestyle. I oftentimes talk about building wealth, right? So the thing about building wealth, some people equate that or think that I'm only speaking of it from a money standpoint. And it's absolutely not just from a monetary standpoint. It's actually from a monetary, yes, but it's also from your family. It's your lifestyle. It's being able to do the things that you want to do and enjoy life without having to be a slave to money. So being a slave to money is we've overextended ourselves too much. Our mortgage payment is too high. Our car note payment is too high. Our credit card debt is too high. So we become a slave to money. And when you become a slave to money, you're not happy, and sometimes it causes depression. When we start to roll that back and really understand what is important to us, maybe family is important to you, being able to spend time with your family, being able to spend more time traveling, spending time, exercising, and working out or doing the things that you absolutely love to do, that is creating wealth for yourself. And the way to create wealth for yourself is to reduce the amount of expense and debt that you have, start generating and building on more assets. So doing things like buying these older homes, say you purchased that home for $20,000, $30,000, and then you spent money into it, and it had, once you do the repairs on it, you have immediate equity built into that house so that you can either pull out money to do some additional repairs to the home, or you're just sitting on that equity on the property until maybe you need that or you decide to sell that property. So I definitely encourage this strategy of buying of these millennials, or anyone for that matter, to look into buying these older homes, fixing them up, and then selling it. And then that other strategy is some of those older homes can also be a multifamily property as you consider that as well. So over the weekend, I actually had a conversation with some investors who had come into town. And one of the things that we were talking about, or many of them did not understand this concept, and I thought about it, I wanted to share it here, is on trade lines. I know I've talked about trade lines before, but just in a general conversation and nothing very specific on there. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what trade lines are and how you can benefit from having trade lines. So many of you want to buy a home, whether it's your primary residence or you want to start investing in real estate. So your first step is always going to be identify what your end goal is. Where are you trying to get to? Even if it's for a home that you need to live in, where are you trying to get to at the end of the day? And when I say end of the day, we're looking out towards the future. Do you want to own multiple properties? Are you just buying a starter home now, but your end goal is to own a home for $200,000, $300,000? You want more space. So thinking about that. And then once you identify what your goal is, the next thing you want to do is determine what you need to do to achieve that goal. So oftentimes it's credit, working on that credit and getting it to a place where it puts you in the best position as possible. The higher the credit score, the less risk you appear to be for a bank or lender, a hard money, even a private lender. The less risky you are. The more cash that you have in savings, the less risky you are in the eyes of a lender. So as part of that, like, how do you build up your credit as quickly as possible? First, you want to make sure that you're looking and reviewing your credit report, at least monthly, making sure it's accurate. There's no inaccuracies on there. Looking at that credit report, oftentimes you may have items on that credit report that you believe is not for you. And if that's the case, either you're going to have to make a decision to either just pay it and settle it, which we don't always like, but I definitely recommend that you do it. Because if you dispute that, that lender is not going to like to see those disputes on your credit report, and they're going to require for you to resolve that. So one of the quickest ways to boost or build that credit score is to use trade lines. Now, there are people out there that are selling trade lines. Typically, this is short term, and those trade lines will last for maybe a couple months, 3 months or so. But you really want to find someone who can help you out with trade lines that will have a longer term effect. So a trade line is, you may have a family member, a mother, a brother, a grandparent who, you know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, they have really good credit, right? So because they have really good credit, and we'll just say if it's your mom, right? So your mom has been on earth, alive, well before you. So she has built this credit history, this credit profile, and has this long good standing. So you want to make sure, this is very important, that you are working with someone, a family member, someone you know that has good credit. It can't be they have late pays, because that can hurt you. But if you know for sure that they have really good credit, you want to go to that individual and ask them if they can add you on as an authorized user onto their account. Now, some people get a little worried, especially someone that has good credit. They are very protective of their credit. So when they do this, you have to explain to them, they don't need to give you the card. You don't even need to be the one to make the transactions. They are just adding you onto that trade line, which is that credit line. So if they had a Chase credit card, they would add you onto that Chase credit card as an authorized user. And all of that history from when your mom or whoever it is opens up that account. So maybe they had that account for 30 years. You get instantly, as soon as they add you to that, you instantly get that recognized, or you get credit for that as though it is your work that was done on there, right? So when you understand how your credit score is made up, a portion what makes up your credit score is the length of history on there. So that takes care of that piece of your credit score of showing that history, because now it appears that you have 30 years of good payment history now on your credit profile. If they have a credit limit of, say, of $20,000, and they've only used, $1,000 of that $20,000, it boosts your utilization that shows on your credit report. It boosts it so that when someone else looks at your credit, okay, they have, $19,000 available because $1,000 of that was used. They have $19,000 of open available credit. They have 30 years, even though they will look at it and say, she wasn't even born, or he wasn't even born, during that full time frame. It doesn't matter. It gives you instant credit for that person's trade line. So if you're looking for a way, if you've been working on your credit, your score seems like it's not really going anywhere, this is one way that you can do that with the trade line. One other thing that I want you to think about as well, if you have children, I would say ages 13 and up. So children ages 13 and up, and you already have established good credit, start putting your kids on there and start building their trade line. You don't have to give them a credit card. You don't necessarily even have to tell them about it, at that young age. But you want to make sure that you are you're keeping your utilization numbers down. You want to keep it down to at least about 30%. But you can start adding your kids on there. So if you have a goal of you want to buy a home, your credit is taking a long time to build, this is one of the fastest ways to build your credit score. And so you want to focus in on this and help, reach back help. These are tips or things that people have been doing, rich people have been doing for many years, that is not talked about long enough or to everyone to really get into this. So that is my focus, my information I want to provide to you guys today. As always, I am here. I'm available to answer any questions for you. This process, whether you want to become a real estate investor or you want to purchase a home, you're a first-time home buyer, the process is really the same. You may not realize that, but the process overall is the same. We need to save money. We need to repair credit. We need to educate ourselves around real estate to really have a good understanding, make good business decisions. We want to make sure that we build a plan, right? And use a strategy for a lot of the tools and resources that are out in the marketplace. So that is your market update with Real Estate Professor Andrea. It is Monday. We are going to have a wonderful week. Each and every one of you are going to have a wonderful week. I'm claiming it. I'm claiming it for you. So have a wonderful day, guys. Thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, let me make sure. Yeah, if you guys have any questions after this, thank you. Just let me know. Shoot me a message. I'm always on. So you can send me a message. I will check that. And if you're not already, make sure you like or subscribe to my channel. And I will see you later this week. Have a good day, guys.